I was I think it was high school. I had an English teacher who once asked our class if anyone knew the difference between a short story and a novel. The obvious answer is the length. But that wasn't what our teacher was getting at. What he wanted us to learn, and if there are English professors in the room and this is wrong, please come correct me after services tonight, is that in a short story, there is no character development. Each character is her or himself throughout the story, and what makes the story interesting is the tension and the conflict that exists between the characters. But in a novel, the characters develop. They learn from their experiences. Some of them improve, some of them get worse. We've all read Greek tragedies. But the idea is there is a dynamism in the character in those stories. What's interesting about Torah is it's an amalgam of the two. There are some characters in Torah who really don't develop very much. Pharaoh in the book of Exodus is in the story for half of the book, and he doesn't change very much. But Joseph, the character to whom we are introduced this week, changes significantly through his story. We're going to read tonight from the beginning of Parshat Vayeshev, the beginning of Joseph's story. And he is, well, a snot. Let's just say it. He thinks he's better than his brothers. His father has convinced him of that fact. And not only does he think he's better than his brothers, he looks for every opportunity to rub it in their eyes that he, in fact, is. But as we follow the story of Joseph over the next several weeks, we will learn that Joseph learns. We will learn that Joseph learns a few things about himself. On the one hand, he's not entirely wrong. We learn that Joseph has been given some God-given talents of dream interpretation and the ability to effect change for the good as a direct result of that. When we get to the end of the story in a few weeks, and Joseph confronts his brothers in Pharaoh's palace, what he tells them is, don't be mad at yourselves. Don't beat yourselves up for what happened to me. I was put in this place by the Holy One, not so that you could make fun of me when I was a little boy, and not so we could have fights when we were younger, but no. I was put in this place so that I could save the lives of all the Egyptians and everyone else around during this terrible famine. That this was exactly what God intended to happen, which is why I was put here. What Joseph learns through his story is not that he doesn't have these great abilities, he certainly does. But he learns to be appreciative of the fact that even though he has his abilities, they are not because of him. They are because of the Holy One who instilled them in Joseph. What Joseph learns through his story is a little bit of magnanimity, a little bit of self-awareness, and also this really important thing that we celebrate this week, this idea of gratitude and thanksgiving. When you have been blessed and you are not thankful and you are not grateful, you walk around reaping the benefits of your blessing and holding it over everyone else around you that you have received it. If you're a baseball fan, the metaphor that is often said is, you're the person who was born on third base and says how wonderful of a triple hitter you are. But that simply isn't the case. For people who have been blessed, what they ought to do with their blessings is a few things. First and foremost, recognize that being blessed means that you didn't do it yourself. That you were given things, perhaps by your family, perhaps by the circumstances of your birth, perhaps instilled with God-given abilities like Joseph was. Second, you should share those abilities and those blessings for the benefit of those around you as much as you possibly can. Yes, take for yourself what you need, of course, but be giving and generous with your blessing as well. And third, and most importantly, by recognizing that the blessings you have been given are not only of your own making, but they are something that you have received. to offer and show your gratitude. It took Joseph being cast into a pit, sold into slavery, given over to the wife of a rich man, sent to prison to Pharaoh, seen his cellmate executed, brought before Pharaoh of Egypt, put into the place as being the grand vizier, and ultimately saving the lives of countless Egyptians and others who were sojourning there. For his journey, his story, to go to a place that he could offer his gratitude and his thanksgiving for his blessings and share them with the world. Thank God for us. The story of Joseph is not a short story, but a novel, at least a novella. And if you were lucky enough to be living in the 90s, also an operetta, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which I got to see in 1990-something at the Chicago Theater, starring none other than Donny Osmond. He was really good. He was very good. So as we celebrate Thanksgiving this weekend, I want to just say to everyone who is here in person and those of you who are joining us virtually as well, how grateful it is year after year, week after week, to be a part of this community. Thank you to everyone who braved the really cold weather we had here in Boca Raton this week. It was in the 60s. We had to turn off the air conditioning. We didn't turn on the heat, but we turned off the air conditioning. And as a word of gratitude, thank you to everyone, and a happy Thanksgiving and a Shabbat Shalom.